Good afternoon, Rise listeners. Happy Women History Month. This is Sharon Fitz, co-founder of Rise, and Chanda McGuffin.
Good evening, Rise listeners. This particular podcast is going to be brought to us by our sponsor, On the Wings of Angels. And the owner and founder of On the Wings of Angels is Tian Johnson. And their mission is to support, empower, motivate, and educate women by providing them with the necessary tools to build a positive future and become healthier individuals, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And this is just a great podcast for On the Wings of Angels to be the sponsor of, because of what our conversation is going to be about this month on the podcast is about women and women relationships and empowering women to do what they've been called to do. So it's a great collaboration. It's a great sponsor for us for this particular month. And we've got some exciting things that Rise is going to be doing this month in honoring some women who's made history here locally.
Yes, and I am looking forward to it. We're speaking about a tea that we've organized, and we have a lot of wonderful, strong women that's coming, and we're looking forward to honoring them. We go back and forth a lot about the things that we want to talk about because there's so many important issues, but I don't think there's any more important than the issues or the struggles that we have as women, and getting back to a place where we respect and appreciate each other and what we bring to the table. And the truth of the matter is that we are the leaders of our communities and our families, and so we have to get back to depending and trusting each other and working together to build back up our families and communities, because we're struggling right now.
And we have to remember to honor one another, honor the sacrifices and what we give to the community and what we give to our homes, our families, our schools, our churches. We don't honor women enough. We don't honor each other enough.
True.
Because that will give us each support to be able to build upon and to strengthen one another and to be able to continue on the journey. And so when we were putting the tea together, it's truly, truly a labor of love.
Yes, yes.
We have identified beautiful, beautiful women in our community and surrounding communities that have just paved the way for Sharon and I to do what we've been called to do. We, of course, are paving our own journey and our own path, but they've left some footsteps and they've left some examples for us to be able to look, admire, and to learn from as we continue, as we create this journey of Rise. And it's so important that we respect each other. We respect what we bring to the table. We are oftentimes, this is a very unique thing for us, because Sharon and I are always asked, how did you guys get together? How do you guys work together? How did you make this work? And the biggest thing is that we have learned to respect one another, and we've learned to respect what each other brings to the table. Though we have a lot of similarities, we have differences as well. Mm-hmm. And in those differences, we've been able to strengthen one another, because what I don't have, Sharon has, and what Sharon doesn't have, mm-hmm. I have.
Yes.
And so we've been able to parallel that to say, now let's put this together and let's build Rise and from our vision. And it has been a powerful. We hope that we are setting an example for other women to start working together effectively with one another. You're not always going to agree.
Right.
We don't always agree.
No.
We don't always agree. We disagree quite often. But the end result is that we know where we want to go.
Yes.
We both agree on the big picture.
We have the same agenda.
And we stay focused on that big picture and getting there. Sometimes our methods are different. Sharon's a little crazy.
The nerve of you.
Sharon's a little crazy. But we have to come to conclusion that she has to be her own person. I have to be my own person. And we have to complement each other at the end of the day. And we have to hold each other up, mm-hmm. because the world is against you. The world is against us. And so we have to hold each other up to say, look, we're in this together. We're going to do this together, because at the end, we're going to be able to see the fruits of our labor in our children and in our community in which we serve that we desire to see. So we have to keep plugging along with that.
And to be clear, this is Women's History Month, but when you say that the world is against us, we're talking about Black women in particular, and we've been somewhat careful right now to include all women. But I can speak to the world only from the perspective of a Black woman, because that's who I am. And the truth of the matter is, in the Black community, in our community, it's the relationship between women that is the most powerful, but it's the one that's lacking the most right now. I mean, I know that we are failing to recognize the power that exists between when we come together as women. There's something that it's not something you can teach, or it's not something that, you practice. It's just something that happens when we come together and working together with the same cause, and that's uplifting our children, uplifting our men, uplifting our churches, uplifting our families and our communities. And we can do that. I mean, pretty much in every organization that has been established, women are at the heart of it. And in our organizations or in our communities, it's Black women. And so we have to get back to the point where we're working together. And I mean working together in a sincere and honest way. I don't want Chanda to ever fall or fail. I want to see you win.
Right.
And so that's where I operate from. Yes, we disagree on things, but in the end, we always come back, because no matter what, we respect what we have together. And so, and I just think that, I know for a fact that as Black women, we have a challenge before us. And in our communities, we have a problem with trust. Trust is an issue, a huge issue amongst our people. And so we have to figure out how to heal these issues, and I don't know, I don't have the answer for that, but I do know that we can't do it by ignoring each other or tearing each other down or not wanting to have any affiliation with each other. We have to get past that. So yeah.
I know that on the Wings of Angels, I've been working with Terry for a long time, but I know when she created that and put it into place, and what her vision and what her dream and her passion is about on the Wings of Angels. And when I think about it, we're planning a women's summit from May the 16th through the 18th. And someone asked me today, said, what is the theme of the women's summit? And I said, I didn't give it a theme, because I want us to stop putting ourselves in a box. Mm-hmm. I want us to, as women, the women that attend, that we are able to meet the need of those women, what they need when they come to that workshop and they come to the summit. Because when they finish, it's going to be something they can take away and say, this was for me, because I didn't have an agenda. Chanda didn't have an agenda. But the key is to bring powerful women that are walking the walk, doing the work, actually have success stories to share, and going to be able to pour into women that are coming, to be able to invest in them, to say you can do it. If you have a dream, if you have a passion, if you have love, if you want to start a new career, if you want to go back to school, if you want to own your own business, whatever that passion is, we want those women that attend to walk in with that passion ready and be able to receive what they need in order to progress that passion after that summit. So the theme is that take yourself out the box and really, really allow these women to invest and pour into you, because they don't have to do it. They could have said, no, I can't come to Waynesboro. Some of these people are very busy. They're authors, they're writers, they're motivated speakers. They've got their own businesses. Some of them are taking off to come here and be here. We've got people coming from Richmond, North Carolina. These people are coming because they see that there is potential in this area. Mm-hmm. There is potential in reaching women in this area, women, and to be able to encourage them and empower them to lead. We have got to be creating other leaders so that we can be able to strengthen our community. We've got to give voice, as our vision is. We got to give voice to the Black community. That's one of our pillars of Rise, that we will be a social justice organization to bring voice to the Black community. And the Black woman has lost her voice.
Absolutely.
The Black woman has given away her voice.
I think it's been taken. And not to be on the contrary, but I feel like that we have been put in a position where we have to do everything alone, but we're not getting the credit for it. You know what I mean? Like we're raising families alone for whatever the reason is. We're raising families alone. We're struggling to make it alone. We don't really have a lot of sisterhood anymore.
We don't.
So we get to a place where we're struggling to just maintain and be. We don't have any place to go to get any release. The church, you know, there's work that needs to be done there because, you know, there's so many broken foundations around us that we just get to a point where we're struggling in silence.
Yeah.
And so I think that there is what we need to make sure that we want the women to understand that's coming to the conference and those who are listening. Is that there's purpose in the pain that also. Like whatever your struggles is, whatever it is you've been through, it's purpose there. And that may be the thing that is going to direct your calling. And you have to be able to look there too. You know, there's so many people who are ashamed of the things they've been through and they want to keep that in the closet. But when you do that, you may actually very well be putting away your calling and putting away your purpose.
And Queen, since you hit on a big thing there, let's just stay right there for just a second. When you said you're suffering in silence, and that is so true. That is so true. Is that and I believe that it has come because we have not. I remember as a child, my father would say to me, "Chandy Lane, to have friends, you have to learn how to be a friend."
Mm-hmm.
We have lost that.
Yes.
We do not know how to be friends.
We don't
and
trust
have
each
a
other.
sisterhood because we don't trust. We repeat what our sister tells us. We use it against her when she's going through something.
Mm-hmm.
We tell that, you know, and I'm not saying this doesn't happen in other communities. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
But what we have to get back to is that Rise is to give voice to the Black community.
And to heal.
And so we have
community.
to talk directly about the Black community. And because I know that people, when we put our podcast out, they'll say, "Oh, that happens in every community. Oh, that happens to us too." We're not saying it doesn't, but we are talking about from the perspective of two queens, Black queens, that we are talking from the perspective of how do we heal the Black community?
Right.
How do we unify the Black community?
Because no one can argue that it's that community, that it is Black community and Black people who are suffering the greatest.
Most. That's right.
You know, and so
that's right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
That's
in.
right.
There,
Oh no, that. I mean, that's so true. I I was talking to someone today, and he was sharing with me, you know, they can take race out of it, and they say, okay, let's go to the school and get the most kids that are failing, the most kids that are expelled, the most kids that are having trouble with reading, whatever the case, whatever the most
socially having
and
social
so
struggles.
Just they say, just give me those kids,
and they're gonna all be Black.
And they're all gonna be. And he said they all came to them. They were Black or Latino, and he said, and the majority of them are Black. This is an issue for us because we don't want to face what we're dealing with. If we could just come together as Black women, if we could just bond together as Black women, and we say, listen, there's 10 of us right here on this corner, and we got us 10, we're all single moms, and we've got our kids, maybe it's 20 kids, 2 apiece. Well, look how you can change the world if all 10 of you just change. You could change your community. The 10 of you, the 20 kids, there's 30 different lives that's changing, and we're empowering them. If we could all just build on that sisterhood and unify one another between woman to woman and child to child, and we can give each child what they need. We are the first educator of our children. We are. And we have got to take that back. We've got to stop waiting for other people to educate our children. We have got to, if you can't read, listeners, listen to me very, very well. Listen closely. If you yourself cannot read, inbox me.
Absolutely.
Sharon and I will teach you to read with dignity and respect.
Right.
We're not going to look down on you. We're not going to talk about you. We're not going to run you down in the street. We're going to sit down with you and
we want you to
because we
succeed.
want you to read.
Yeah.
We want you to be empowered to read, because when you're empowered, you're going to empower your children. You're going to be able to read contracts. All of y'all that keep saying your child going to be basketball players and football players and all this, if they can't read those contracts,
They could be players, but they'll be getting played at the same time.
they're not going to know what's it. That's what I love about LeBron James. He's a businessman. He's smart. He's intelligent. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to read. He knows how to manage his own business. Those are the things that we got to be invested in our children. Mothers, talk to your children about ownership. Don't ask them what they want to be when they grow up. Ask them what they want to own. Mm-hmm. What do you want to own when you get older? If they say, I want to be an astronaut, say, okay, so you want to own a science technology business. Put that in them as they are children to own, because we can own. We don't have to always be the borrower. Right. We don't always have to work for other people. Those who do and they're fine, that's fine. But it doesn't mean we have to. We can be the bosses. We can be the owners.
It is America. I want to go back to something you said, because I feel like I need to add in there. We're talking about women and women history and women relationships, but we need our kings to be a part of that. When you were speaking about the sisters coming together, the mothers coming together, single mothers, and that's a beautiful thing to happen. But we also need, whether you're the fathers or just a friend, we also need our brothers to actually start helping these sisters. You know what I mean? There's men around all the time who can see these young children that need someone to feed, yes, to plant seeds. Little girls need men to also plant seeds in them, to also help them to understand how to navigate some of these challenges of relationships in life and so forth and so on. But to get back, I want to make sure, I think the biggest struggle that we have once we start as Black women is that we're very hardened. You know, we become hardened, mm-hmm, by the time, mm-hmm, we're in our late 20s and early 30s. And so we cut off from ourselves the opportunities. And I don't know, like, again, it requires a long conversation. We have to really, really kind of delve in and really talk about the things the walls that we need to break down, but those walls are there. And yes, when those walls are there, it's hard to let anyone in. That's whether right, it's your sister or someone that you even are in relationships with, you know what I mean? Right. And we're going to have to figure out how to start softening ourselves. But we also know, and I understand, we need to be in a safe place. Mm-hmm. It has to be that we can trust. And trust is something that you earn. You know, that's the thing. People think that trust is something you just give. Trust is something that must be earned. Right. And we got to figure out how to get back to a place where we're earning each other's trust.
And I said that to, the presenters. I did conference calls today with some of the presenters for the Women's Summit, and I said to them, I want this to be a safe place. I want, if you're dealing with a topic and it's a tough topic, and this woman starts crying, I want her to be able to get that out. I want her to be able to feel the relief and the release of being able to say, gosh, I can just be vulnerable for just a minute, because we have a hard time with vulnerability. I know I do, so, mm-hmm, I can stick with, yep, me. As Pastor McCoy says, talk about yourself. I can talk about me. That's where my little warrior exterior. My father didn't give me that name for a spiritual name. He gave it to me exactly what it meant. It was little warrior, because I was just so tough, and I just wasn't going to put up with no mess. And I was just, because I had been hurt. So I built this wall of protection. Mm-hmm. And so as I have grown and gotten older, I have taken it as a spiritual thing, that I have a warrior spirit. And I've always had that in me. I've always had that fight in me. I've always wanted to go against the grain. I never have wanted to. I never wanted to follow other people. I wanted to lead myself. I didn't care if anybody else was coming behind me. I didn't care if anybody else was doing what I was doing. I remember in college, I would get away from my girlfriends, and I would go to lunch by myself. And I would be sitting in the cafeteria, and my twin brother would come in there, and he would say, Chandler, were you by yourself? I said, yeah, by myself. He goes, well, let me get my tray and come over here. I don't want you sitting by yourself. I was like, No, I want to sit by myself. That's why I came at this time, because I don't want to be with anybody else. And he was like, what? He thought I was so lonely. I'm not, because I'm alone doesn't mean I'm lonely.
Right.
We have to, as women, we have to, let me, that's just a powerful thing. Thank you, God, for giving me that. That's a powerful thing. Learn to be alone. Women, learn to be alone.
Be all right with being alone.
And you can be all right with it. Learn to love who you are. Learn to love what you have to give to the world. If you don't know what that is, find it. Take the time and find it. Because it's so empowering for you to get to that point of, it's okay to be alone. I'm enjoying this time because I enjoy me.
Right.
I'm not telling y'all, listen, sisters, I'm not telling y'all to go, I don't need no man. That's not what I said. I never said that. Okay.
A good man is a good thing to have.
Okay. I never said that. I would love to have a man, a husband, and all of that. I'm not saying that. But he going to have to be a husband that understands that I like to be alone at times, because I enjoy to be alone and do my own thing and, make my own. With Rise, I mean, we're always constantly busy doing things. Sharon's husband got to say, oh, okay, Sharon and Chandler, I got to get a break from both of y'all. So we have to get to that point where it's okay. It's okay. If you always dreamed of being a singer, then follow that passion. If you always dreamt of owning your own hair salon,
do the homework.
Go do it. Go make it happen. Spend that time finding out. There is no reason in America people can say there's no information with the internet. You can find anything that you need to do. You can find it. Find your niche and make it work.
And better, and even still, in this community, there are a lot of women in this community that have the knowledge and have the experience, and you have to know them. I mean, I know that I don't know everyone that's listening, but if you're within this community or whatever community that you're in, you have to know someone that knows someone that can help you. And the thing is that you have to, again, trust that person, not be afraid. That's another thing. We are afraid to put our vulnerabilities or to put our,
right.
What we don't know. We're afraid to admit that,
right.
and so you can't grow and you can't get any better and you can't increase your life and your opportunities if you're not willing to put yourself out there. And the thing about it is, like, I'll use singing, for example. I've been singing all of my life, but every time I step up, I'm nervous. Mm-hmm. Every time I step into the mic, I'm nervous. And that's because I want to do well. I want, and it's not about entertaining people. I want to touch. I want to touch you, and I want to change you. Yeah. I want to affect something in you that makes you feel better than you did when you first, right. came into the room. That's so right. It's more than just, I'm not entertaining you. That's not what I'm trying to do. Everything that I do is a part of my calling.
That's right.
And so I think I know that's what we all need to do. We need to figure out what is it that God has given us, or that we have learned in our life or experienced in our life, because we don't go through anything just to go through it.
No,
we weren't born just to die. Everyone has a purpose and something that you're supposed to give to someone else in this lifetime. That's why we go through much of the hell that we go through. You can't help someone and you can't advise someone if you don't know anything.
And so, we create our own history. When we're talking about learning about women's history, what history are you making? What are you contributing to history? How are you leaving your legacy for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your family? How are you doing that? And that's what I really want to leave with you as we're closing up this particular podcast is, what is it that you imagine and what is it that you dream that you can impact and make change? We thank our podcast sponsor of On the Wings of Angel and Tian Johnson for being our sponsor for this particular podcast. We will have another podcast next month. If you would like to sponsor a podcast, we do them monthly. Please send us a message or inbox us. We'll be glad to tell you how to do that and how to get your information out if you have something upcoming for us. But we appreciate you listening. Hope that you will tune in next month, and please share this podcast to everyone. If you're interested in the Women's Summit in May, you can go to riseorg2018.com and you have the information there. Also, we are a shout out to Baker, who is actually is our sound and production for this podcast.
Hey.
If you want some information on doing a podcast, his phone number is 540-688-9717. He will make it affordable for you, and he will make it convenient for your time and your schedule.
Before we close all the way out tonight, we're going to share a couple of the ladies that we really appreciate from history. My lady is Ida B. Wells Barnett. She was born July 16th, 1862, and passed away March 25th, 1931. She is an African-American investigative journalist, educator, and an early leader in the civil rights movement. She was one of the founders of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And she arguably became the most famous black woman in America, during a life that was centered on combating prejudice and violence.
My woman is Maya Angelou. She was born Marguerite Annie Johnson on April 4th, 1928, and passed away May 28, 2014. She was an American poet, singer, memorist, and civil rights activist. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. She received dozens of awards and more than 50 honorary degrees. Maya Angelou is best known for her series of 7 autobiographies, which focus on her childhood and early adult experiences. The first, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, in 1969, tells of her life up to the age of 17 and brought her international recognition and acclaim. Dr. Maya Angelou. Thank you for listening, Rise listeners. We appreciate you listening. We just want to give our last message to you is to make your own history, find out what you're passionate about, and embrace it.
Be fearless.